Can you imagine what it feels like to pour your heart and soul into a project for 3 days, only to receive a cold message from your family? 3 days spent preparing a birthday party for my grandmother. I made every dish, set up the decorations, planned every detail, hoping to give her a special day. I thought this was my chance for my family to recognize me, to see that I could do something meaningful. But then, when everything was ready, when the party was just moments away from starting, I received a message from my mom. We've decided to host it at a restaurant. This party is for adults only. I couldn't believe my eyes. All my effort, all the preparations, just thrown away with one last-minute decision. I felt abandoned, like no one in my family truly understood what I had done. 3 days of non-stop work, and now everything felt meaningless. But I'm not someone who gives up easily. I decided that this party would not be ruined by my family's coldness. I would hold it even without them. I would invite my friends, the ones who understand and appreciate me, to show that I could make this happen. Not for them, but for myself. So, can I overcome this betrayal and turn the party into a success, despite my family's rejection? Or will I fail again and feel alone in my own home? Stay tuned and see what happens in this moment. I'm Kyla, 17 years old, and I love cooking more than anything in this world. I grew up in a family where academic success and choosing a stable career were always top priorities. My parents, especially my mom, always believed that children should pursue jobs with steady incomes and secure futures. They hoped I would study economics, finance, or at least become an engineer, just like many others in the family. But me, I can't live without food. Since I was little, I've been captivated by the smells in the kitchen, from the simplest things like toasted bread to the elaborate dishes my mom would prepare during the holidays. I remember standing next to her, watching her cook stews or bake cakes. She had a way of cooking that was like an artist painting a picture, with every ingredient having its own purpose. I always wondered if one day I could make food that would give others the same joy. That was my dream, to become a chef. However, I understood that my family never saw this as a real career. My mom would always say, "Cooking is just a hobby, honey. Don't think it's going to support you long term." Every time I shared my dream with her, she'd look at me with worry, as if I was choosing a path without a future. She wanted me to study economics, to have a stable office job, a steady income, and an easy life. My older sister, Emily, didn't help much either. She was the perfect daughter in my parents' eyes. Graduated from college, works for a big company, and always acted like her life was the example I should follow. She always thought I was wasting my time on the kitchen and had no big plans for the future. I always felt like a shadow in my family, never good enough to make them proud. As for my dad, he rarely talked about my career. But I could feel his silence whenever I mentioned my passion for cooking. Even though he never directly opposed me, I knew he didn't fully support it. He wanted me to have a stable job, a long-lasting career, not a job like being a chef, which, in his eyes, was just an unrealistic hobby. Conversations about the future with my family always made me feel like I was standing at two different crossroads, unsure which path to take. One side was the dream of living a life doing what I loved, and the other was the family's expectations, where I would have a stable job and a life without worrying about the future. The feeling of loneliness in my own family stayed with me for a long time. Every time I wanted to talk about my dream, I stayed silent, not wanting to disappoint them. I felt like a stranger in my own home, where no one truly understood me, where no one truly saw the passion and effort I put into cooking. But there's one thing I know for sure. I can't live without cooking. And even if my family doesn't support me, I won't give up on my dream. Every time I stand in the kitchen, I feel like I'm finding myself. Every dish I make, I feel like I'm creating a part of myself. A part they can't see, but I know it's worth something. I can't give up on my passion just because of others' expectations. Even if my family doesn't understand, I'll keep going down this path, not to please anyone, but to prove that I can do great things, even with just a small dinner party. And the birthday party for my grandma, which I spent 3 days preparing, will be my chance to prove that I can make it, that my passion deserves to be recognized. Even if my family doesn't support me, I'll make this party a success. This will be the first step in building my name, not just in my family, but to the world outside. I woke up at 5 a.m., not because I had to, but because the excitement and passion inside me were bubbling over. Today is the day I prove to my family and to myself that I can do something truly special, even if they don't understand. The birthday party for my grandma, the gift I've spent the last 3 days preparing, will be a significant milestone in my life. This isn't just any meal. It's a chance for me to show my love for my family, especially for my grandma, the person I've always looked up to as my inspiration. She was the first to teach me about food, to show me how a dish can be more than just sustenance, but an art form. I've learned so many cooking secrets from her, those fine skills that have carried me through this journey. But today, I'm going to surprise her with a dish I've prepared all on my own. I started with seafood soup, a dish my grandma loves. I remember sitting next to her, listening to her talk about the times she and my mom would make this soup during every holiday. She always said, "This soup needs love in every spoonful of seasoning." I carefully chose the shrimp, clams, and fish, blending the spices in just the right ratio that I learned from her, tasting and adjusting until it was perfect. Next came the roasted beef, a dish I had studied thoroughly to get just the right flavor. I didn't just want the beef to be tender, but also have a crispy outer layer coated with a homemade herb sauce. I prepped everything myself, from the seasonings to the cooking technique, making sure the dish would be as fragrant and delicious as possible. Then, for dessert, I decided to make a 3-layer cake, beautifully decorated with fresh fruit and smooth whipped cream. This would be the highlight of the meal. This cake wasn't just about looking good on the table, but about everything I'd learned about baking. Every layer of this cake represents a part of me. My dreams, my effort, and my love for the people I care about. All day long, I was busy in the kitchen, running back and forth between dishes, checking every detail to make sure everything was perfect. Though I could feel the exhaustion, not once did I feel like I was doing something pointless. I knew I was creating a memorable meal, not just because of the food, but because of the meaning behind it, my effort to prove that I can do this, even without my family's support. When everything was finally ready, I stood in the living room, looking at the beautifully arranged dishes on the table. The 3-layer cake smelled heavenly. The seafood soup was steaming, and the roasted beef was ready to be served. Everything was ready for the party. But now, I wasn't just waiting for my family to arrive. I was also waiting for myself to realize that even though my family doesn't understand, I can still make this happen. I stepped outside to the backyard, where everything was quiet, and took a deep breath. I knew this party wasn't just going to be a simple meal. It was proof of everything I've put into my dream. It was a declaration that I can create something wonderful, despite the doubts and betrayal from my family. This party isn't about impressing anyone else. It's the beginning of a new journey, a journey where I'll continue to pursue my passion. And no matter how tough it gets, I'll never give up. I couldn't believe my eyes when I read the message from my mom. We decided to hold the party at the restaurant. This party is for adults only. It felt like everything just came crashing down, like my heart was being squeezed. I had spent 3 whole days pouring my heart into preparing this party. Every dish, every little detail, all carefully thought out. I had hoped that finally my family would see the effort I put in, that they would appreciate the work I did. But now, all of it was meaningless. A single cold message, and I realized I couldn't make my family understand what I was doing. I stood frozen in the kitchen, the phone still in my hand. Suddenly, a wave of disappointment and anger surged within me. All I wanted was to host a party for my family, a place where I could show my passion and talent, but now, this sudden change made me feel invisible. I felt rejected, abandoned in my own home. I quickly grabbed the phone and scrolled through the message again. The feeling of being overlooked crept up, but I couldn't let myself break down. No, I wasn't going to let my family's coldness ruin everything I had worked so hard for. I had done this for my grandmother, for my family, but now I was left to do it alone. A rush of anger filled me, but I decided not to let my emotions control me. I took a deep breath, steeled myself, and called my mom. "I don't understand why you changed the plan at the last minute. I've been preparing for 3 days. Can't you see what I've done?" I tried to stay calm, but my disappointment was clear in my voice. Her voice on the other end was calm but cold. "Kyla, you're making this too complicated. This isn't the kind of party you want to create. I think it's best we hold it at the restaurant where everyone will be more comfortable." Her response made me choke up. She didn't see my effort, didn't understand that this party was my chance to prove that my passion meant something. "You don't get it," I said, feeling frustration rising. "I just wanted to create something special, not for you to see it as a joke." Her voice remained cold, with no sympathy. "I just want you to understand that not everything has to be perfect. You're overdoing it." I couldn't take it anymore. I hung up, feeling deflated, like a balloon losing all its air. All my energy, all my resolve just disappeared. But then, moments later, I made a decision. I wouldn't let my family dictate the fate of my party. I would do this on my own. My determination grew stronger than any rejection. I started calling my friends and neighbors. "Hey, I'm still going to host this party, even if my family isn't coming. If you can make it, I'd love to have you here." My friends, the ones who truly understood me, immediately agreed to come. Mia, my close friend, even texted me, "I'll come help you. Don't worry, everything will be fine." The party would go on, even without my family. I wouldn't let a heartless message destroy everything I had worked for. I was going to prove that my passion mattered, not just to my family, but to myself. And I was going to make everything perfect. The betrayal from my family only fueled my determination. I had built this party on my own, and now it was time for me to show everyone, the people who truly cared about me, that I could do it. The story of my family's betrayal became the motivation to keep moving forward on the path I had chosen. As the party drew closer, I couldn't shake off the overwhelming feelings stirring inside me. Despite my mother and sister not showing up, I decided not to let their coldness ruin everything I had worked so hard for. I invited friends and neighbors, and each message, each call offered me a little comfort. But the truth was, I couldn't stop thinking about my family. I couldn't understand why they couldn't see the love and effort I had poured into this. They couldn't see that this party wasn't just about the food. It was about everything I had hoped for, an opportunity to prove I could do something special, to show I could succeed, even without their support. I continued preparing the party as planned. Every dish was perfected, every detail on the table carefully attended to. Each dish was a work of art, not just showcasing my skills, but also my emotions. The roast beef, seafood soup, the 3-layer cake. All of them carried a piece of me. A piece I had given to my grandmother, to my family, even though they didn't understand. When the guests arrived, I did my best to smile and greet everyone. My friends and neighbors came. Some even brought side dishes or wine to contribute to the celebration. The atmosphere began to warm up, but I couldn't deny that a sense of emptiness lingered in my heart. My family still didn't show up, and that made me feel alone, despite being surrounded by people. They didn't understand. They couldn't see that I had done all of this out of love for them. As people gradually sat down at the table and enjoyed the dishes I had prepared, I felt a sense of relief when I saw their satisfaction with the roast beef, the fresh salad, and the 3-layer cake. Compliments kept coming, and I couldn't help but wonder, would my family ever understand what I had done? Just when the party was reaching its peak, I got an unexpected phone call. On the other end was an unfamiliar voice. "Hello, Kyla. I'm Sarah, a food journalist. I heard about your story and this party from Mia, and I'd really like to try the dishes you've prepared." My first feeling was one of surprise, followed by something strange. A journalist? I couldn't believe that my story had caught the attention of someone, especially a renowned food journalist. Sarah explained that she had heard about the party from friends in the community and was really impressed with what I had done. After trying some of the dishes, Sarah couldn't stop praising my talent. I never thought a family dinner could taste this good. You have a real gift, Kyla. Your story is so moving. You don't just cook, you create meaningful dishes, Sarah said, then continued. I'd love to write an article about this party. Would you be willing to share your story? Her words felt like a refreshing rain after a storm. I never imagined that my simple story could attract such attention. A part of me felt surprised, but another part felt recognized, not by my family, but by those who truly understood the value of passion and hard work. Of course, I'd be happy to share my story, I replied, a small smile on my face. Even though my family wasn't here, at least there were others who understood and appreciated what I was doing. The article was written and published, telling my journey, from a girl abandoned by her family in her pursuit of her dreams, to a passionate young chef determined to prove her worth. Sarah wrote about me, as an example of pursuing passion despite lack of family support, and I received countless invitations from restaurants, TV shows, even apprenticeship opportunities from famous chefs. The article wasn't just recognition for me, it was proof that even though my family didn't support me, I could stand strong and follow the path I had chosen. Every compliment from the article, every opportunity that came my way, didn't just make me proud. It made me more determined on the path I had taken. I realized that even if my family couldn't see my value, others had helped me prove that I could do great things. And now, opportunities were opening up for me. Even though the party was a huge success and I received many compliments from my friends and the community, a feeling of emptiness still lingered inside me. Amidst the praise for the dishes and the happiness around me, a part of me still felt lost. My mother and sister weren't there, and the feeling of being abandoned still haunted me, even though I tried to stay strong. After the party, I couldn't stop thinking about my family. I wondered if I could continue building my career without the support of the people I loved the most. The messages from my mom remained silent, and all I received were the same cold conversations I'd heard so many times before. I didn't know what to do to make them understand that what I was doing wasn't just a passing hobby, but a passion, a career that I truly wanted to pursue. One evening, when I was sitting alone in my room, my phone rang. It was a message from my sister. My heart sank, but I decided to open it. "We need to talk," the message from Emily started. My heart raced faster, feeling anxious and uncertain. "Mom talked to me, and I think you've been overreacting, but now I realize I was wrong. I didn't understand you. I want to apologize for all the criticism I've given you." Her words left me at a loss for how to react. The apology came late, but at least it made me feel a little lighter. Still, I knew that our relationship wouldn't go back to what it was, at least not immediately. The hurt was still there, and I couldn't pretend like everything was fine. I replied briefly, "You don't need to apologize. I just want you to understand me better." These words were an outpouring of emotions I had kept inside for so long. I didn't need an apology, I just wanted to be understood. The conversation ended in silence, and I couldn't shake the feeling that our family relationship had changed forever. I couldn't just forgive and act like nothing had happened. While the apology from my mom and sister was a step forward, the hurt and coldness from them still lingered. The next day, I couldn't stop thinking about what my mom had said. She never really appreciated my efforts, and I still couldn't understand why she couldn't see the value in what I was doing. The feeling of rejection wasn't easy to forget. I decided that I wouldn't let this coldness weaken me. In fact, the lack of support from my family only made me more determined. I wouldn't stop. Sarah's article had opened a new opportunity, and I wouldn't let the rift in my family relationship stop me. Even though my family wasn't here to see what I had done, at least I knew I had done the right thing. I wouldn't give up on my dreams for anyone. I would prove that passion and persistence could lead to success, even if I had to walk this road alone. Kyla stood firm in the face of this great challenge, and she realized that sometimes in life, you have to face betrayal from your own family to find your own path, the path you truly want to walk. The party had ended, and despite the absence of my family, I felt a deep sense of pride when I saw the smiles and compliments from my friends and neighbors. They didn't just come to taste the food. They came because they knew I had poured my heart and soul into it. I couldn't stop smiling as I heard the praise, but a part of me still couldn't shake the feeling of emptiness when I looked around and didn't see my family there. This party wasn't just about food, it was about me, a young girl who wasn't supported by her family, but still determined to do what she loved. The dishes, from seafood soup to roasted beef, from the three-tier cake to the delicate desserts, weren't just delicious. They were testimonies of my perseverance and passion. That's what I had put into them, not just spices or ingredients, but a part of me. As the party went on, with guests chatting happily and enjoying the food, I suddenly received a call. On the other end of the line was a voice I didn't expect. "Hello, Kyla. I'm Sarah, a food journalist. I heard about your story and this party from Mia, and I'd love to try your dishes." Sarah, a renowned journalist in the food industry. She had heard about me from friends in the community and decided to come to the party to try my food. I was truly surprised, but also felt a little proud. I never imagined my story would attract the attention of someone influential in the culinary world. Sarah came and immediately sat down at the table, starting to taste each dish I had prepared. Every time she tasted a dish, she showered it with praise. "This soup is absolutely amazing. You did a great job. The roasted beef is perfect, and this three-tier cake isn't just delicious, it's a work of art." Sarah's compliments made me feel like I was floating. These were the words I had never received from my family, and for the first time I felt truly valued. I wasn't just a girl experimenting with food. I could create real culinary masterpieces. Sarah continued, "Your story is truly inspiring, and I think it will inspire many people. I'd like to write an article about you, about this party, and about how you're pursuing your passion despite all the challenges." Then, the article about me was officially written and published. The title of the article made me almost unable to believe my eyes. Kyla, the 17-year-old girl who dared to stand up and pursue her cooking dream despite family opposition. Sarah didn't just praise the food. She also wrote about my story, about a young girl trying to do what she loves, even though her family didn't understand. The article was widely shared on social media and caught the attention of many restaurants and famous chefs. I started receiving countless invitations, from reality TV shows to opportunities to learn and work in renowned restaurants. My life, which once revolved around a small party and a rejected dream, now opened a new door, a promising future. Even though my family didn't come, what I achieved wasn't the recognition from them, but from the community and those who truly saw the value of my passion. I didn't just organize a successful party, I created the first step towards my career. A few days after the party ended, I couldn't stop receiving calls and messages. The compliments from friends, their families, and neighbors still echoed in my mind. But what surprised me the most was a call from Sarah, the renowned food journalist I never expected to meet at my party. "Hi, Kyla. I'm Sarah, a food journalist. I heard about your party from Mia, and I'd love to try the dishes you prepared. I'm really impressed by what you've done and would like to write an article about you." Sarah, a famous food journalist. She had heard about me from friends in the community and decided to come to the party to try my food. I was truly surprised, but also felt a bit proud. I never imagined my story, even if it was just a family gathering, would attract attention like this. I felt both excited and nervous. This was an opportunity I couldn't miss, but it also presented a new challenge. How could I continue to prove that my passion wasn't just a temporary hobby, but a real career? Sarah came and sat down at the table, beginning to taste each dish I had prepared. I couldn't hide my nervousness as I watched her enjoy the food I had spent so much effort preparing. Every time she tasted something, the compliments kept coming. "This soup is amazing. I've never had such a delicious seafood soup. The roasted beef is also perfect, so tender and flavorful. And this 3-tier cake, it's not just delicious, it's a work of art." Sarah's praise made me feel like I was soaring. Everything I had done, all the effort I had put into those 3 days, was now being recognized. But what truly moved me wasn't just the recognition of my cooking talent, but the fact that she recognized the story behind the party. Sarah didn't just praise the food. She wanted to write about me, to share my story with the world. "Your story is so inspiring. You're not just a talented young chef. You're someone who dares to pursue their passion, even without the support of their family. I think your story will inspire many people. Would you like me to write an article about you in this party?" I felt like everything was spinning around me, but then I nodded in agreement. This was an opportunity I couldn't pass up, even though I was still dealing with the mixed emotions regarding my family. "Of course, I'd be happy if you wrote about me," I said, my voice shaking but sure. Sarah quickly wrote the article and published it on her website. The headline of the article was, "Kyla, the 17-year-old girl who created an unforgettable party despite not being supported by her family." The article not only praised the food, but also told my story, about a young girl with a passion for cooking, but who faced betrayal from her own family. The struggles and loneliness I endured when my family didn't understand me, and my determination to not give up. The article quickly attracted the attention of the community, and I began receiving countless messages and invitations from restaurants and food reality TV shows. My story had become an inspiration to young people pursuing their passions, even without support from their family or society. Sarah didn't just put my story in the newspaper, she opened a new opportunity I had never imagined. Although this article couldn't change my family, it was proof that even if I had to walk alone, I could still achieve great things. I didn't need recognition from my family to create opportunities for myself. And I realized that sometimes success comes from overcoming challenges you face on your own. Now, Kyla's story has become an inspiration for many. She not only proved her culinary talent, but also showed that perseverance and passion can help you overcome any difficulty. She found success and recognition, not only from those outside her family, but also from herself. A month has passed since the party, and everything in my life has completely changed. Sarah's article brought me the recognition I had always longed for. Not only have I received invitations from famous restaurants, but TV cooking shows have also started reaching out to me. I've been invited to participate in cooking competitions, to be a guest on TV shows, and I've received praise from top chefs. My life, which once consisted of dull, lonely days and being overlooked by my own family, is now filled with opportunities. However, throughout all these days, a strange feeling still lingers. Despite receiving attention and new opportunities, a part of me still can't shake the sense of lacking support from my family. My mom and sister still don't truly understand my passion. They didn't come to the party, and although they've apologized later, I still can't erase the feeling that they've never truly seen me. The apologies from my mom and sister are just a first step, but not enough to wash away the pain I've endured. One evening, as I was sitting alone in my kitchen preparing for the next event, I received an unexpected call from my mom. I looked at my phone screen, feeling a wave of anxiety. This was the first time my mom had called since the article was published. "Hi, Kyla," my mom began, her voice full of warmth and sincerity, unlike any I'd heard before. "I read the article, and I just wanted to say I'm really proud of you. I couldn't imagine that you could do something so amazing. I'm sorry for not understanding you before. I can see that you truly have talent, and I want you to know that I will always love you." I listened to my mom speak, and I couldn't hide the emotions swelling inside me. At that moment, I didn't know how to respond. Although her words couldn't change the past, at least I could feel that there was a change in her heart. Maybe she didn't completely understand my passion, but at least she now recognized that I had done the right thing. "Thank you, Mom. But you don't need to apologize. I just want you to know that everything I do is because of my passion. You don't need to understand everything, but I need you to believe in me," I replied, feeling a sense of relief. After that call, I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Although our family relationship couldn't be completely restored to what it once was, at least I had achieved the most important thing. I had become confident, and I no longer allowed the lack of emotional support from my family to hold me back. My story is not just about a party, but about persistence and courage. I've learned that sometimes to reach success, you have to walk alone, even without the support of your family. And when you're confident in the path you're taking, the world will gradually see your value. That day, as I stood in my kitchen, looking at the dishes I was preparing for the upcoming event, I realized how much I had grown. The recognition from the community, from those who truly understand my passion, had confirmed that I could accomplish great things. I didn't give up, and that's the most important lesson I could learn. In the end, I understand that family is not everything, even though they might be the most important people in your life. But if they can't see your value, it's not your fault. You have the right to stand up and prove yourself for yourself. The life lesson I've learned is to never give up on your passion. Never let words or criticism stop you from chasing your dreams. Even if you have to go it alone, I know I'll always have the strength to keep moving forward. And to me, that is true success.